officers. And then you have the economically oppressed army officers and low-rank income soldiers and drafted youth serving in the army. So basically, all the males have to serve at some point in the Egyptian military. And most of these people are either apolitical or anti-revolution.
Go ahead, Ma.
And then you have the revolutionary officers and defectors. There's a small group of army officers defected from the Egyptian military in April and in May. They opposed the practices of the Egyptian military, and they said that we no longer accept this. But these people ended up in jail. I'm not quite sure how the US media portrayed the crackdowns of the military and security forces after Mubarak resigned, because whenever I ask you about the Egyptian revolution and how much they know about it here, all I get is just, positive, reactions, positive impression that, oh wow, you did an amazing job, that was great, you guys are amazing. And that's it really. So people don't really know much about the course of the... Hello? Okay, that's better. So, people don't really know much about the course of the crackdowns on all the peaceful protests that we organized since February until late December. So, the army has been cracking down on us since February, even like a couple of weeks after Mubarak resigned. And the major crackdowns were in February the 25th in Tahrir, March the 9th in Tahrir Square, when they detained over than 170 people, and all the women who were detained were subjected to something called virginity tests, and they were sexually assaulted by some army officers in the Egyptian Museum. In April 8th, that was when the army officers camped with us and they cracked down on us as well. May 15th in front of the Israeli embassy, June the 28th in front of the Ministry of Interior, August the 1st in Tahrir Square, September the 9th in Israeli Embassy and Ministry of Defense, September the 30th in front of the Ministry of Defense as well. October the 9th was actually my last experience in Egypt before I came, and that was a Coptic Christian march. Over than 10,000 Christians, and mostly Christians and Muslim, marched towards the state TV building, and basically asking for their rights, protesting very peacefully, and the army came and cracked down on us, and the APCs were running over people. They killed over than 60 people in one night, and the next day they held a conference and they denied everything. They said that we didn't kill anyone. We don't know who killed them. And on November the 8th, November the 20th. Hello? Okay, it's working. So on November the 18th until the 22nd, they've been cracking down on people in the square. There was the footage when they were, jumping over women and stripping their clothes. And I'm not sure if you came across all of this footage, but that was in from November the 18th until November the 22nd, 5 days of street fights. And then the late attacks were in December the 16th in Tahrir Square. So they've been cracking on us for an entire year. They detained over than 13,000 civilians and tried them in front of military courts. They killed an unknown number of people, and you don't really know how much people were killed, because the military is killing people and the military is in power as well, and they are in charge of everything, and they are supported by the US government. So now I'm going to talk about the main counter-revolutionary forces against our revolution since the beginning. So the Egyptian military-industrial complex, represented by the Supreme Council of Armed Forces, the US, Israel, Saudi Arabia governments, in addition to other dictatorships around the world who don't want to see an independent democratic Egypt. And then you have the controlled opposition, like the old guard parties, the Muslim Brotherhood, and other political parties like Al-Wafd and Al-Tagamma. And then the ex-National Democratic Party members and major businessmen, the 1% in Egypt, who are controlling politics and money. And then we have the silent majority of the Egyptian people who want stability and security over an uncertain scenario. So if all of these people are fighting us, who is fighting still in the Egyptian revolution? Who is still fighting in Egypt? We have mainly the victims of the uprising are, the scene of activists on the ground are the victims of this uprising, whether they are the families of the martyrs or the families of the 13,000 detainees. You still have small youth revolutionary movements and independent human rights activists and human rights organizations. There are students in campuses, workers and employees striking in factories, and different private and public sector institutions across the country are part of the struggle as well. So who are the targets of military trials and crackdowns by the Egyptian military? Mostly they're targeting protesters and campers, filmmakers, photographers, independent journalists and independent media outlets, non-political citizens who are less likely to be advocated, mostly the poor communities, foreigners who are accused of spying non-stop. So if you are a foreigner in Egypt and you're like, maybe you look so foreigner, you're blonde and tall, you could highly be accused of spying for the US or Israel or Iran or Saudi Arabia or wherever, based on the imagination of your investigator.
You couldn't be North African.
And also vulnerable populations like women and Christian protesters.
The blacker the better under the sun. Oh,
So-
fine, they told I'm fine with being like I'm black. Alright then, what's up with it though? I'm just keep on going. I'm already known.
What can the American people do to support the Egyptian revolution? This is the question that most of you are possibly asking.
Egypt.
So in order to support the Egyptian revolution, you need to have a strong movement here. You need to have Occupy movement.
I'm already known.
So the success of Occupy is the success of the Egyptian uprising and all the uprising across the world. Come to our rallies and teach-ins. If you want to hold an event in any of your community centers or universities or classes, please come and talk to me about this. You can help us by spreading awareness about the military spending in Egypt and the Middle East and how it is connected directly to cutting in from education funding and healthcare funding and food and housing here in the US. All this money travels overseas to other countries, to Egypt and Israel and Pakistan, and they're shutting down schools and hospitals here in the US. So you need to raise awareness about this amongst your people, your own community. And then you can also help us by sharing our materials like the videos and pictures and information about what is going on in Egypt to overcome the media blackout. Only 6 million Egyptians have Facebook accounts out of 85 million Egyptians. Most of people do not even read and write. Most of them are illiterate, and the ones who are literate do not speak English. So we're really struggling so hard to overcome media blackout in Egypt, and we need your help with this. Yeah, so I was gonna mention this now. So if you want to find us online, search for Oakland and Cairo are One Fist. It's a Facebook group, and there's another couple pages that I'm running: Global Liberation Network and Shimaa from Tahrir Square. If you want to spell Shimaa, it's Shimaa from Tahrir, TAHRIR Square. And on my Twitter as well, it's Agenda Kid, AGENDA_kid. So my teaching is over, and now if any of you have any questions, like if you have any comments, you are more than welcome to come and ask.